Hey, how you doing? It's me, Steve Sims. Welcome back to another episode of The Art of Making Things Happen, the podcast. So you may have, if you've been on my 5 p.m. Drinking happy hours that I did during COVID, or if you remember the speakeasy and you've traveled around at different events, you may have come across with this weird cat character within our group called Manuj Aggarwal. Now, he's quite a quiet fella, sharp as shit. And he's really excelled in his understanding and opportunitizing of AI. So much so that he's on the board of universities, of major Fortune 500 companies, and recently even spoke at the United Nations on AI. Now, AI does confuse the pants off of a lot of people. What it is, what does it stand for, how it can work for us, should we all be shit scared that our toaster is going to overrule our life? Listen to his description of AI and listen to the first part of this to understand what AI actually is. You may realize that you've got a misunderstanding of what the principle of AI is and how you can benefit from it. Listen to the podcast. Again, that for your benefit. Enjoy and share. Hey, Manuj, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Excited to be here.
I should be able to turn around and go, oh, listen to Manuj's episode back. I can't remember what number it was, but it seems as though I've known you forever. What's it been, like 4 years we've known each other? Something like that?
I think 3 years. 2019, around end of 2019 we met.
Wow. Okay. It's been a while. Yeah. It's been a while. And along that way, I've got to know more and more about you. And what really kind of like took me by surprise, because you're quite a quiet guy, was your knowledge within the world of AI, but not only your knowledge, the respect and attention you've got within some pretty superior places. Universities take you on, major Silicon Valley corporations. You spoke at the UN. So, you know, you're pretty sharp in it, but we're going to discuss AI. And for an idiot, what is AI?
You know, AI is basically just looking at the world and finding the patterns to reveal how the world works. You know, as we grow up as kids, if we touch a hot stove, you know, once we touch it, we know, you know, we don't want to touch it again because it causes pain. So that is data registering in our mind, and our mind is learning that pattern, right? Now you can say, okay, you know, what if it's very cold outside? What if it is, the height of the stove is 6 feet? I'm like 5 feet. Does that make a difference? You know, what if I grew up in a cold environment, and all these factors come in, and when you combine all these factors, that touch may not be as painful now, right? So these are new data points coming into our mind, but now you can extrapolate it and say, okay, how can my mind learn about the weather condition? You know, weather conditions, they are dependent upon millions and millions of parameters, right? Our mind is not capable of thinking that deep, that in detail, but AI can do that, because we can load up millions and millions of parameters, and we can say, okay, looking at this data, tell me what will be the outcome tomorrow, what will be the outcome in 14 days, 15 days. So that is basically the definition of AI, like, you know, just helping us find these patterns that our human mind is not capable of finding.
Now, I need to declare, and you'll call me out if I'm lying here, I haven't sent you any questions. You know, this is a conversation. That is probably the best explanation of AI I've ever heard. And the reason I say is because when you speak to someone, you go, oh, what about AI? They go, oh, it's chatbots. It's being able to learn to speak like a human being. That's one element of AI. Yeah. AI is all data that's being learnt in a human, from the most simple things of, you know, mechanics on a car, how to turn how to make food, how to make a cocktail. That's all AI. And as you're saying, you know, it's a collection of data that is going to basically going to go beyond, probably already starting to go beyond what the mind can actually handle. Is that how?
Absolutely.
So, is there? Let me ask you a very leading question. I know that people like to go, AI is chatbots, AI is conversation. And we've already said, that's one part of it. Is there anywhere in the world, in any industry, any sandpit, where AI has actually taken over from the normal person?
I mean, many industries. There. Look at there has been, and this is like 4 years ago. There was a big noise about IBM computer AlphaGo beating the best Go player in the world. And anybody who knows Go, it's a very intellectual game. And in China, actually, they take kids 10 years old. If they show promise in this Go game, they take them out of the school, their regular school, and they put them in special schools where they train them for life on this game of Go. And the world champion was beaten by a computer 4 years ago. Okay, so in 4 years technology has moved way past that level of intelligence. So now we are talking about doctors who have been trained to diagnose cancers and perform like really intricate surgeries, like really these kind of skills have been overtaken by AI already right now. And the key to realize is that these are very specific specialized skills, and now we are going beyond that, where any skill can be taught to AI. So as a human, I can ride a bike, I can write a copy, I can create a video. So I am able to do a lot of things as a human being. But so far, AI was only specialized in one particular task. But now we are going beyond that, and we are training AI to do pretty much everything that a human can do. So one AI algorithm can handle multiple tasks. And so that's where we are now.
Are you scared?
No. I mean, this everybody who knows about AI, we already anticipated that this is where we are going. It will happen so soon. Was very surprising to a lot of people. Like obviously, I was very surprised. I thought we will be at this point in 10 years, 15 years. But even when I talk to people at the highest level, they are surprised at what is going on.
And I asked you that very bluntly, are you scared? Because as an entrepreneur, and I know me and you have both share that DNA, as an entrepreneur, we look for the opportunity in anything. You know, if it's a wet day, we sell umbrellas. If we're on the beach, we sell water. You know, we always look to how can we optimize the situation given to us. A lot of people look at AI and they're fearful of it. But as an entrepreneur, we look and we go, well, okay, how can this present us an unfair advantage? How can this actually do some of the shit that I don't want to do so that I can focus on more of the stuff I do want to do? And one of the biggest things we've seen in that is employment. Now, a friend of mine used to say, oh, may you have more staff. It was his way of being very sarcastic to me, because if you want problems, employ people. Because people are a pain in the ass. I'm a pain in the ass. You're a pain in the ass. So, you end up, if you've got a room full of people, sooner or later, there's friction, there's arguments, there's lack of tolerance. To get over that, what can we have a computer do? Because it's got no personality. It's not going to go and throw a hissy fit, and it's not going to get shit-faced on a Tuesday night and not turn up for work on a Wednesday. So we're now looking at it to replace a lot of the things that commonly we would have taken people on. And one of the common things is frontline. And that's where we've seen ChatGPT. And we actually had a beautiful AMA on the Speakeasy Facebook group on that subject that you led. If anyone's a member of Sims Distillery, you can go in it. Manuj was absolutely fantastic. So we're seeing how very quickly, in the space of a year, this program is now becoming a mass educated program. And what I mean by that is because people are using it, the more they use it, the more it learns. And that is becoming a chatbot system, but not only chatbot, it can write books, it can do anything, can't it? Please explain what it is.
Yeah, it's basically, OpenAI is the company behind it. What they have done, they have taken all the human history, everything that has been written so far, not just on the internet, like all the antiquity, all the textures, scriptures, everything. And they have created this mega, super intellectual super intelligent computer, which can really understand language. You can feed it English language. It speaks multiple languages, so you can just share your thoughts as it is. You don't need to know programming, you don't need to know coding, and you can just ask the question as if you're talking to a super intelligent person who will be empathetic towards you. By the way, it will ignore spelling errors. It will say, oh, I understand exactly what you mean, and it will give you the answer that you're looking for. And you'll be surprised, because even when we talk to human beings, you will not get that kind of clarity. As you said, like, when you talk to AI experts, they are in their own mindset, in terms of what AI is, and they'll give you that answer based on their thinking, but they will not be as empathetic towards you and what is exactly you are looking for. But this super intelligent computer will be empathetic towards you and say, okay, this is the information you are looking for, and you can say, I didn't understand it, please explain it to me as if I am like a 5-year old, and it will actually reword it, rephrase it, summarize it for you. And you will be surprised that even a 5-year old will actually understand what it's saying.
Now, you actually went in there and just for shits and giggles put in there what was it, the top 10 takeaways from my first book, Bluefishing. It gave
Yeah,
you the top 10 takeaways, and then you
yeah,
went,
yeah.
okay, turn that into a poem. And,
That's right, that's
and
right.
then you said, how long did that take?
It took like 10 seconds. 10 seconds, that's
10
it.
seconds for it to basically tear down my book into 10 key parts, 10 takeaways, and then turn it into a poem. That's pretty
Yeah.
amazing. And it far exceeds the standard kind of search engine ability of Google and things like that. The people that are getting scared of it, well, they get scared of any kind of change. As
Mhm.
entrepreneurs, we like to optimize and opportunize things. What elements of AI should we be focusing on, and what don't we know is coming?
See, the key is to use this as a tool to your advantage. So when I say that, if I have to do a very complex calculation today, I can use a calculator or a computer. If I want to go fast, I can ride a motorcycle, I can ride a car. If I want to lift heavy weights, I can use a crane. And now you want to think about, okay, if what if I want to become more intelligent, rather than going enrolling into a PhD program or master's degree, I can use this tool as making me more intelligent, giving me more information, and then utilizing that to explore new opportunities, optimize your operations so you can reduce costs. You can actually say to this AI, say, hey, I'm running this brick and mortar store, I'm selling ice cream, what are your suggestions on reducing costs? And it'll actually give you some ideas about what you can do to reduce cost in your ice cream store. And the idea is that it is so versatile, it is so like in depth. I cannot sit here and say, okay, do this with this AI technology. What I can say is play around with it and start to think about what questions to ask. That is the main skill you want to develop. What questions you want to ask this AI, because as intelligent it is still dumb. If you ask dumb questions, you're going to get dumb answers. But if you get better at asking the questions, then it'll give you very interesting answers which you may not have thought of. Not only that, but now as you can see, that poem was a way to get your interest, spark interest. Because if I just say, hey, these are 10 takeaways, anybody can do it, no big deal. But when you turn it into a poem, it actually sparks interest, and people say, oh, that's unusual, that's fantastic. And the poem was not like a ridiculous poem, it actually made sense, it rhymed and everything. So that's the idea, become creative in talking to this AI, so that it can enhance that creativity 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times.
Now I'm taking there's no link, there's no smooth transition with my next question. But I've known you for many years. We've hung out at the speakeasies, we've chatted many times, and then you get contacted by by a group to speak at the United Nations.
Mhm.
Now, I've spoken at some really cool venues, but I've not spoken at the UN. How was that? Were you nervous?
Oh yeah, that was quite a nervous thing, But I learned a lot from you. Actually, I'll give you a lot of credit, because you showed me that you need to value yourself, and if you value and you're confident in what you have to say, then it doesn't matter who the person is. In fact, I was surprised that there was a director of UNESCO. She was taking notes. There was like a Nobel Prize winner. I mean, all these people are really really great in what they do, but you have to realize we all are very limited in the field of expertise that we have. So if somebody comes in and brings a different perspective from a different area of expertise, people are receptive to that. So as long as you don't let your nerves sort of take over, and you share what you have to share, it has been a fantastic experience. And I will also add, the opportunity that I got was because of some of the automation and AI that we use to, gain traction and get exposure in front of these people. So it has been like a full round circle coming to me using technology to talk about technology with the influential people.
So you used AI to amplify your visibility in order to be able to speak on stage about AI. That's
Exactly.
pretty complete, and I like that way that it's actually come around. I also like the idea that it's still a machine that is receptive and reacting to the questions you ask. And I've always said, if you don't like the answer, ask a better question. And people go,
Mhm,
"Oh,
mhm,
that's deep." And you basically, well, you're not basically, you literally said it's dumb. And if you ask a dumb question, you'll get a dumb answer. So
mhm.
again, it comes down to okay, if you're going to ask a question, why? What are you trying to receive? Are you trying to receive a quick response? Are you trying to receive a detailed tactical outline on how you're supposed? So you've got to know the answer that you're trying to receive in order for you to be able to ask the best question. So again, comes down to your ability to be able to communicate, even if it's with a computer. Now, have there been
Absolutely.
it? Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, go ahead. No, it's even more so because a human can use facial expressions and body language, and you can develop relationships with a human being. But with a computer, it is going to give you a really dumb answer. And if you trust that computer to, if you trust it enough and take action on a dumb suggestion, it's on you.
There was actually, and I'm trying to think, I think it's Professor Mirtaran who did the 738-55 rule. And he reckons that 55% of the questions, sorry, 55% of your communication, and I may have it switched around, is either your body language or your tonality.
Mhm.
38% is the other one, either the body language or the
Yeah,
tonality,
yeah,
which basically means that only 7% of all communication is received based on its content. Now, with a
exactly.
computer, with AI, 100% of your content, because it doesn't matter if you ask the question with passion, with
Yeah.
excitement, with anger, with reverence, whatever. It ain't taking your tonality and your emotion into effect. It is answering the factual content of the question. And
Yeah.
that's
Well, that is about like 2 3 years away. Maybe I've been always been blown away. So maybe in a year you will be able to talk to it, because I think Google is already scared of Chat GPT, and I read that they are coming up with a voice enabled version of Chat GPT, which will be able to recognize your tone, your emotions as you speak to it.
wow. So again, that gets rid of keyboards. It gets rid of
Yeah.
keyboards. It gets rid of spelling. And if you've got your VA there, so there's a lot of opportunities that this is coming out with. And I do like the fact that, as again, right at the beginning, just for those people that were listening or kind of tuned in late, AI is not just about communication between a computer and a human being. It's about what it can do for you. So when you look at AI, it's kind of trivializing it when we play we're just waiting for iRobot to come around, because
Yeah. Yeah.
iRobot is very much of a trivial version of what AI really stands for, isn't it?
Yeah, so if you look at the evolution of technology, it always starts with a big complex piece of technology. Anything that you see, like even if you look at the car, when Henry Ford came up with the car, it was like cranky thing. You had to use a manual crank to start it. It was like fuming, a lot of pollution. It was not safe. But over time, it improves, and it also always becomes very convenient. Very it takes into account all the inconveniences. So that's the case with all technology. It starts with a really rough around the edges, but then over time it starts to disappear and become very, very convenient. So in case of AI, I mean, we carry around all these mobile phones. They are pretty much run on AI. I mean, this podcast is being recorded underneath the covers. AI is optimizing the traffic, the internet traffic, and making sure we are looking sharp and nice. The sound is clear. AI is everywhere already. So the idea is, how do we expose it for the uninitiated, or the masses, to make it more accessible? And that takes the shape of an iRobot. iRobot is basically a representation that people will be comfortable talking to, rather than saying, okay, I want to type a prompt into a chatbot, where it becomes more technical. It's not as accessible to billions of people. It makes sense.
Yeah, it does, and it's kind of scary, and exciting at the same time. I don't ever like to wait until the last moment before we tell people how to get hold of you. You've been studying this, and as I say, you're a quiet storm. People don't realize how smart you actually are and the kind of things you're involved in. If people want to kind of like get a little bit of an unfair advantage by basically being in proximity of you, how do they find out more about you? How do they follow you? How do they hear you? To how people can get more of Manuj in their life.
Yeah, so connect with me on LinkedIn, or go to my website, Manuj Aggarwal. So it's Manujaggarwal. I won't. So just search for me on Google. You'll find a lot of connections, a lot of social handles, and I'm on all socials: Instagram, TikTok. But LinkedIn is one of the main platforms where I'm active.
Now, you've used AI a lot on LinkedIn itself, haven't you? So you've used
Yeah.
technology on a technology platform as a third party way to be able to get you. I know for a fact, and you've said to me before, you've been able to use the AI to actually source you phenomenal guests for your podcast.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
you've really tried to see how it can really just benefit you on so many different levels. So I'm going to put the links in below of how people can get hold of you. I urge people to follow Manuj, because Manuj does have a real ability to be able to simplify and to be able to put it in your pocket, to be able to go, well, this is happening. It's complicated, but it doesn't have to be. Use it. So I do
Yeah.
commend you for doing that. What is the next 12 months holding for you?
Yeah, 12 months, it's basically just helping people understand this technology, because here is what is going to happen. Consider that you are in Saudi Arabia in 1930s, and you just found out that oil is very, very valuable, and you just happen to have a piece of land under which there is an oil well, and now you want to acquire more oil. So the next 2 or 3 years are that period where data is becoming oil, data is becoming the gold. So the next richest people, most successful people, will be people who have access to data, and people who know how to utilize their data to their advantage. So the idea is to educate people, help people implement this, grow in their business, grow individually as well. Like you mentioned, when we met, like I was an anonymous engineer. I didn't have a lot of clout in the industry, but I knew what I was doing. And within 3 years, I was able to, get on the stage with the Nobel Prize winner and whatnot. And that's the magic of technology. So if I tell somebody else that, hey, this is how it can be done faster now. I mean, it took me a lot of hit and trial. I got there in 3 years, but now I can tell any startup, any company, any individual that you can get there in 3 months, 6 months, using the technology. And that's where we are at. So the next 12 months are just making sure that people don't get left behind, and they are up to speed, and they can take advantage of this and get ahead.
I like the idea that they shouldn't be left behind, because technology is not there to be complicated. Technology is there to benefit and to make it easier for you. If technology is difficult, that's because it's not been finalized yet. And, how much do we use iPads? And it's like the old days of when you had a website, you had to, HTML or JavaScript or any of that. Now you can get onto a GoDaddy website and knock up your own website in 3 seconds. It's going to look like it, but hey, we're making technology easier for us to use with a drag and drop principle. And you're right, if AI moves into the vocal, where it recognizes the tonality, the imperfections, the passion, the resonance, the cadence, then that's going to be the next big step there. So there's a lot of things there. Manuj, I'm going to put all the links beneath. Have you thought about bringing this is a double-edged sword. I was going to ask you, have you thought of bringing a book out on this? But the trouble is, surely by the time the book comes out, the technology's gone past what is in the book, isn't it?
See, the way I look at the world, the book is, I hate to say it, I know you have 2 books, but nobody reads these days. If you go to the airport, if you're taking a plane, you'll see, even 10 years ago, people used to bring books and they used to read, and they had Kindles and whatnot. Today they are watching TikTok, they are watching YouTube shorts. So most of the readers are transitioning into a multimedia experience. So the idea is that I'm putting a lot of content out there. I have a podcast, and so the idea is I'm trying to put my content in a way that is being consumed in the way that people prefer these days. Of course, the book, if a compelling opportunity shows up, of course I will take a lot of the material that I've already published and condense it into a book. But that's how I see. I mean, again, being a data scientist, I look at the trends and I see readership is going down.
Yeah, I've got to admit, the second book that I did, we got such an avalanche of people, and it wasn't gentle. We got such an avalanche of people going, "Hey, where's the audiobook?" Because so many books are consumed via audio, and we're bringing that out. For any of you out there, don't throw any hate at me. The audio book will be out soon. I'll be the one that's actually reading it, so you won't be able to understand what I'm saying. So, Manuj, I want to say a big fat thanks for being on the show. Thanks for simplifying it. Your explanation at the beginning of AI was just masterclass. So thanks a lot for bringing the opportunity to us. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Look after yourself, pal.
Thanks.
Hey, I hope you liked that episode of the Art of Making Things Happen podcast. And remember, these are done for you. If you like them, subscribe, share them around. But if you don't like them, send me an email to ask@steveDsims.com, and you can tell me what I need to do to make this the most dynamic podcast you listen to. Anyway, make sure whatever you learned from the last podcast, you actually do something with. Without action, it's just a bunch of people blowing air. Have a good time. Until next time. Bye.